available for early prostate cancer detection. The Prostate Cancer Center's Man Van is a mobile health clinic driving change for men's health. A few minutes could save your life. To get the Man Van out to your business or event, book today at getcheck.ca.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Soccer? June's biggest event is happening right here at Metal Supermarkets. The Big Bin Sale is back. Everything in the off-cut bins, 30% off. A wide assortment of miscellaneous metal priced to clear. Just in time for your next DIY project. But hurry, it's selling faster than a guy kicking a ball on the grass to another guy. And, forget it. When's hockey season start anyhow? Metal Supermarkets, the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
You've got better things to do than wait for an oil change. Jiffy Lube gets you in and out fast. No appointment necessary. All you have to do is roll into a location near you, and we'll take care of the rest. Every full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube is warranty approved and comes with a 20-point visual inspection, making sure you get back on the road safely. Find your neighborhood Jiffy Lube today. Visit jiffylubeservice.ca.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11 good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Fantasy Frenzy. Brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky. As I get in a friendly barb with our digital producer, Josh Fenwick, before the show gets going. That's how I get last word. I say it, then I turn my mic on. It is Fantasy Frenzy. Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Best beef jerky in the province. I say the country, but we'll say the province and more. Check them out in Leduc or online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Connor, Halley, Brandon Douglas, and Josh Fenwick with you here in the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Malls. I peeked my head out. Looks like the rain stopped on the west end. I'm sure it will pick up again, as the forecast says, but hopefully just a brief little break. Maybe you can go out, take a walk, and do whatever else you have to do around the house. Lots to discuss on the show today. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers making some deals today and yesterday, locking up two of the Chicago Blackhawks they brought over at the trade deadline. We can discuss that. Of course, the World Cup rolling on. Argentina right now taking on Austria. Can Lionel Messi get the lead in the chase for the Golden Boot? Of course, right now, he's tied with a Canadian, Jonathan David, and a German as well. There's a few guys in there, but Lionel Messi, the only one to play one game. One goal for him. He'll jump into top spot with his fourth. We'll look at the soccer. We can talk some baseball, football. The Edmonton Elks picking up their second win of the season in the rain. Justin Rankin. It's a pretty simple formula. Just give him the football and then give it to him again and then proceed to, because eventually he is going to bust a big run, which he did twice for the Green and Gold in their win over the Alouettes, 32-29 on Saturday. Good weekend in the CFL, kinda. Like, there were some blowouts, no doubt. Hamilton had their way with BC, Toronto with Ottawa, but Edmonton, Montreal going to overtime, Saskatchewan, Calgary doing the same sort of thing. And who would have thunk it? Edmonton 2-0, the Stampeders 0-2, and the BC Lions 0-2. Top spot in the West belongs to the Elks, and the Rough Riders. We bring in Brandon Douglas and quickly mention you can talk to us. 1-833-401-1440. Duke, good afternoon. Wait, good morning. How's the weekend?
It's the morning.
It's still the morning.
The weekend was wet, but pretty good, actually. Obviously, there was no shortage of things to keep us entertained between U.S. Open golf. Mentioned the Elks game Saturday afternoon, all the flurry of activity that kind of came across the wire yesterday from the Panthers working their way around, Sam Muskevich to Seattle. They get the capital and the cap space to then go and swing this blockbuster for Brady Tkachuk. Then Bobby McMahon extends, Jason Dickinson extends, Connor Murphy this morning. It's kind of starting, it feels like the dominoes are starting to tip a little bit, at least in a few different markets. And as a result, it gives us no shortage of things to discuss. And actually, I mentioned this on Friday when we had our Fed Up segment talking about the city of Edmonton and some potential refunding for golf that we weren't going to be able to play due to the weather. We pivoted and went and bowled instead downtown at the Plaza Bowl.
Yeah.
Kind of right by Nate. I'd never been before. Had a great time. There was 8 of us there. Had a ton of drinks. Played a few games. Got some stuff on the line for the last couple matches of some team play. And then since they didn't do shots at the bowling alley, we just took literally one step out next door to the pub, and it was called the Duck, right, Josh? Josh is familiar with it. I'd never been. Really nice little spot tucked in there, right beside the bowling alley, and we were the only ones in there. And we watched the end of the football game, played some pool, drinks, and then over for a great steak dinner downtown to round out. And then I was just paying for my sins all of yesterday on the couch watching golf, watching the rain come down. So awesome weekend, good time spent with some good buddies, and the flurry of activity that followed is not leaving us with nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, Father's Day yesterday. Shout out to all the dads out there. I was on my phone just doing a little social media posts because things just kept happening. But it was a fun one. If you have a hangover, there's no perfect condition, but rainy with golf on is kind of nice.
Because then you have when I'm just camped out on the couch, whether it be on an afternoon during the week or on a weekend, I look out and I see the sun shining. I see the green trees. I feel kind of guilty. And it's even worse when I actually don't have any reason to stay inside. Like if I've got a game to watch or something, that happens. But when the rain comes down the fashion it did, it certainly alleviated some of that guilt. Or it's like, well, I can't do anything outside anyway. May as well just lounge on the couch like a big salami.
Yeah. Well, watch sports.
And root for Wyndham Clark to try and blow a giant lead in the final round.
He was kind of a funny case because he peaked on Thursday and each round got progressively worse out of 64, 69, 70, 73. But that first round, Duke, was so good. It didn't matter. Nobody could catch him. Sam Burns, Tom Kim, nobody could get there.
Wire to wire.
Now, do you just like Wyndham Clark because of the tantrums? Like he's banned from
Oakmont,
right? Like he cannot play there anymore?
Yeah.
Or is he banned from the clubhouse?
Well, probably both.
Can he show up and play?
I wonder if, because we know that the U.S. Open, it cycles locations. Like if it makes its way back there again and he's still plying his trade.
He's just dressing at home.
He's just home dresser.
Yeah.
For golf.
He'll get chirped a little bit, but.
No, I think that plays into it. We talk about golf as such a gentleman's sport and so you don't like to see guys have little meltdowns, whether on the course he's, swiped off, I think, some tee markers and stuff maybe in the past. I think he has a bit of a reputation as a slower player. If I'm maybe not quite to the extent of some other guys, but he's very methodical, takes his time on every shot. I think in this specific case, I was rooting for him to melt down yesterday, Connor, because I wanted it to be closer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted the potential for him to, and especially on the, I can't remember, 17, 16, his tee shot is way off in the fescue, and it seems likely that he's probably going to bogey. And then all of a sudden it puts things into question for the final couple holes as Burns had just got into the clubhouse with his -3, but then he just makes an unbelievable recovery shot out of it to still par the hole. Actually, I said maybe even birdie to mixing things up in my head, but I digress to the point. I wanted it to be close. Playoff holes are obviously very exciting when you have it on a Sunday night at a major. To them have to duke it out that fashion, but it's not the case. The lead he padded for himself back on Thursday was large enough, could not be overcome, even with a couple good efforts by, Scheffler obviously had a great Friday, Saturday, Tom Kim coming alive on Sunday, Burns in the mix yet again for a second straight year at the U.S. Open, just couldn't quite get it done. He had a couple opportunities to put the pressure on tighter and couldn't quite capitalize.
No. But, I mean, there was a little drama there, though. So it was a great event and, tough course, tough conditions. Want to go into the inbox here just quickly. Coach Vic says, what's crazy if Calgary had won? As much as I can't believe I would say that, Edmonton would be in first place all alone. Yes, but, I mean, you want teams to just pick up those L's, right? Like, it's going to be tight, I'm assuming, down the stretch here. You want teams to lose. So I think Saskatchewan, no matter what, is going to be a good team, going to be atop the West or right up there. I'm good with Calgary losing. And then Kyle had asked, what's Rankin's contract like this year and next year? He's just curious about potential NFL teams looking at him. He's 28. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. So I think he's pretty happy here with the green and gold. Now, Lionel Messi was awarded a penalty here in this Austria-Argentina game. They went to VAR, did the review. Looks pretty clear cut. So now, hypothetically, if you took anytime Messi goal scorer right now, you're looking pretty good. And so unfortunately for Jonathan David, I'm assuming Messi is going to pot this. Is going to pot this. Duke, you know anyone who took Messi anytime goal scorer?
Yeah, I got it in just out of the wire. Carius wouldn't let me get off the mic in the final segment.
So you're hoping here.
Yeah. I'm hoping for him to bury this, and it obviously gives Argentina the lead, which I need as well. I need them to win the game outright, and Messi to have at least one goal. So I'm feeling optimistic.
We'll give it a little delay here so we don't get in trouble. That Duke's reaction could have gone either way here. I don't. Olympics, we have to buy ourselves some time.
That was a terrible attempt.
Long enough. No goal.
What was this?
It was going wide no matter what.
That was brutal.
You know what
listen, Messi's my GOAT. That was terrible.
When I coach, I would tell my kids, hit it hard and pick a corner. No cute stuff. Don't do that step, fade, hesitation. Hit it hard in a corner.
Connor, you have a lot more experience with soccer, playing, coaching, watching than I could ever dream. You've done more of it in a weekend than I have in a lifetime. Why, when you have those opportunities, it is impossible for the goalie to get to it in the top corner. Just snipe it. And I mean physically impossible.
There is, when you miss high, it can look quite bad. They should not be considering that of it because it doesn't matter. They're that world-class athletes. Yeah, you put it inside the post, which I think is what Messi was going for.
Yeah, but he put it on the ground.
And
he tried to hit him with the hezzy hay and then just float it past him. That's a brutal effort.
Yeah. Well, maybe he'll get another one.
Well, I hope so.
Plenty of game. We're only 9 minutes in.
Yeah, he's probably not even woken up yet.
The fix is in. Gruff says, maybe I jinxed it just by saying,
this is a freebie.
It should be when you're Messi. He's my GOAT. He's your GOAT. I thought that was for sure. We will get to the text box here. Lots coming in here, but I do want to make sure we touch on the Edmonton Oilers because very busy weekend for Stan Bowman and company. The deal. Let's just run through them here. So, in case you're living under a rock, yesterday Jason Dickinson signed a 5-year contract, 4 years. After the third season, his no movement clause becomes a 16-team trade list. So you could look at it as a 3-year deal and then reassess. Maybe the Oilers look to move on. He's 30 years old, $4 million with the cap going up. I love that contract. We'll see how it plays out. The Connor Murphy deal, another one, 5 years, $4.1 million cap hit. I like the numbers. The issue being he's 33 years old. The first 3 are no movement clause. And then the 4th year becomes the 16-team trade list. So again, another one where after 3 years, you can move on. It'll be potentially tough. If the cap keeps going up, maybe teams we'll take, a rebuilding team. We'll take Connor Murphy, good guy in the room, great guy. So for me, I kind of look at these as 3-year deals, and then it's your discretion. If the guy still has it, he can still add to the team. You keep him around. If not, maybe you look to ship them out. That 3 years is also the length of Matthias Ekholm's deal at $4 million, but he's locked in for the entirety of it. I like these deals. When the trades happened back at the deadline, my first thought was these are good moves for this season, but I'd like to see them hang around. People will criticize the no movement clause, but I think that is part of the negotiation, Duke. My thought process is maybe they want full no movement clause. They always say, hey, we'll give you the first 3. How about that? Okay. It's not ideal, but it's such a big role when it comes to negotiating these contracts. The term is something that is thrown on. I always kind of called that the Ken Holland special, where he would just throw in a couple more years at the end, maybe to keep you happy and make sure he gets the deal done. But good on the Oilers for getting this done, Duke, before July 1st. I think establish where they are, how much money they'll have to spend when they get to that day and kind of execute the game plan. But these two deals for me, like the only concern would be term. But as I mentioned, after 3 years, it's a 16-team trade list. I'm sure you could find a buyer if you feel you need to move on. So all in all, I do like these moves.
Yeah, the bringing the players back seemed like a wise decision for Bowman and the rest of the team to make, because they clearly had a very positive impact on the way the team plays, and this very clear and obvious need to focus more on playing defensive hockey. And that's to a man, right? Like, you need your top guys to commit more to that side of it. We know they can score borderline at will at times. And there's a good way to do that is insulating them with players that kind of play that way all the time. It's their instinctive nature to err on that side of caution. And that's exactly what you get in both Murphy and Dickinson, right? I'm with you where it's kind of just being nitpicky, and that's the nature of the business. So it's tough to look at something and give it a full flying colors passing grade no matter what. The term of the deals, and then combined with the trade protection that accompanies it. I'm all fine for tacking on an extra year or two for guys when we're talking about fully guaranteed money. There's a chance you're not going to be the one paying that money when the deal runs out, or at least you can explore that option when it comes there. And that's kind of one of the negotiating tactics that teams have when trying to keep a player's AAV down. And both guys come in at a great number. If Murphy can continue to play on the second pairing and give that stability as a right shot guy that the team has really sorely lacked for quite a while now, that is an absolute bargain of a number. 4.1 for a second pairing guy to eat a lot of minutes, especially on the PK. Now, for Dickinson, $4 million third line center, I think that's a very fair going rate. He doesn't have a ton of offense in his game, but you know exactly what you're getting. So the numbers are fair. They probably, I think, certainly would have fetched more on the open market in a UFA spot. So what do? You concede the AAV money for a little bit more security on the overall dollars with extra years. And then it's almost just like a sweetener, this trade protection, I guess. It's tough to criticize because I like the players and I like what they bring to the Oilers team. But I just, like, that's my only question is, did you have to give the extra years for the extra money and the trade protection on top of that? Because, yeah, in 3 years when it opens up and you've got a or what are we talking? 16 teams no-go, 16 teams go, less minus one, obviously, because the Oilers are one of those 32 clubs. It's I'm sure someone will take them, but what if you find yourself in a spot that the play has decreased by quality of play has decreased, and you're looking at it's just another anchor type of a player on your salary or on your books. It's long-term projecting, and I'm not saying that I expect either of these guys to be that, but it's just one of my few areas of criticism on both contracts is, did you need the extra years and trade protection? I don't think you would, but if that's what it took to get the deals done, so be it.
Yeah. And I mean, that, like, I think a lot of times you make these contracts, you figure them out. If you're Stan Bowman, you're like, I don't even know if I'm here in 4 years. Let's get this done. Let's keep these solid players on the team. One of the things, just looking at it, Duke, and scrolling through the Oilers roster, 2 years ago, I wasn't buying this. They're an old team because I thought that, it was Corey Perry and Derek Ryan that had the older ages. Like, their core was still young. Just looking at the group right now, like Leon Draisaitl 30, McDavid 29, Hyman's 34, Nuge 33, Dickinson 30. You got Trent Frederick who's 28. But I don't want to put too much pressure on this young group, but when you look at Podkolzin, Szymanski, Howard, Savoy, these are the guys who are 24 and under. You're Colton Dach. Like, you need these guys to take some strides, and they can't be liabilities out there. Like, you need them to contribute on the back end. Yeah, you're moving on from Darnell Nurse, but Wallman's 30. You got him till he's 37. Connor Murphy's 33. Matthias Ekholm's 36. You have Emberson and Stastny, but I don't know if Stastny's going to return. I'm sure they'd like to extend Ty Emberson. He'll be 26. Bouchard 26. This team is older. Tristan Jarry's 31. The only goal you'll have under contract right now going into next season. That's just like a quick rundown of the team. I'm not someone who buys into I think a team of the core in your late 20s, early 30s is fine, but they're going to need that next group of guys to really come in here and contribute. And it's tough because we've talked about it extensively. It's no secret. Like, the Oilers are very much focused on this 1 to 2 year window right now. 1 year for sure to show Connor McDavid that the team is trending in the right direction and is still in a championship window. And then the second year, which would be the final year of his contract,
Do you have the inclination, Kate, are we going to get him extended, or do we have to maybe pivot elsewhere? So this having a veteran team when it is pretty obvious that your priority is the here and now, and I'm single year, maybe the second year, then all of a sudden that need for the next wave is not as important. You always want to plan for the future and hope to remain competitive and in a window of contention for as long as possible. But sometimes you just got to cash in your chips and hope for a championship.
Yeah.
And only one team can win every year, obviously. And so there's a lot of teams that push a lot of chips into the middle that go home empty-handed. But if you're the Oilers, in particular Stan Bowman, when your seat has gotten very warm in terms of your job. Same can be said for Jeff Jackson at the top of the food chain. You're on another head coach. You've got a few guys that, all right, we liked the team. Let's just bring back the similar group with a few changes. We still don't know what's going to happen with Darnell Nurse. Seems like he'll be elsewhere. That's probably looking like the biggest change to this team is that Darnell Nurse is not going to be on it.
Yeah.
After that, I mean, the rest of your roster is pretty much set, and you've got a little bit of money to play with. How you choose to utilize that, well, that's going to be the challenge for Bowman here over the rest of the summer.
Yeah. So you have $7.4 million right now per Puckpedia. If you move on from Leon Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse. Yeah, you're not moving on from Draisaitl. You move on from Darnell Nurse. Obviously, that clears up at 9. But you got to bring a player in to take those minutes, and is there any retained? We'll have to see. It's going to be a fun couple days here in the NHL, and we didn't even get into Brady leaving the Ottawa Senators, joining the Florida Panthers. Maybe we'll dive into that a little bit more next. We'll take a break. It is Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. You can also watch us on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. Brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
Beer League Slow Pitch. It's an Alberta summer tradition.
I got shortstop. I'll take pitcher. Yeah, I'm just here for the dugout snacks.
When you're playing on the field, you need serious fuel. And there's only one MVP.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky and hit a home run with the team. It's the perfect snack for your summer sports.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton, Jason Gregor is a must-listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America. If it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first. Gregor rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
Tired of the rough ride? Alberta used to be a leader in highway planning and construction, but years of neglect and cuts to maintenance are showing. You can see it, and your vehicle is feeling it. Infrastructure can last for years with a little TLC, but when repairs are deferred, minor issues become major reconstruction. We need action and a reliable capital plan. Contact your MLA and demand stable infrastructure funding. Find out how at fixourroads.com.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think,
Wow, great hair transplant.
I want them to think,
Wow, great hair.
go to drvancelliot.com and contact us today.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Welcome back. It's Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. Also streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. Check us out on YouTube. That's where they chat as well. Sports 1440 AM. Remember to subscribe while you're there. Text lines 1-833-401-1440. Fantasy Frenzy, as always, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Go check them out. Talk to Trent. Get his thoughts on the Oilers offseason, maybe the Dallas Cowboys as well, and enjoy that sweet, sweet Will Hawk Beef Jerky. This segment is for Elks Nation, of course. Articles, podcasts, videos, twice a week with Eddie Steele, Grey Cup champion, and Declan Kruger. Good times right now for the Green and Gold. Winners of 2 straight. You go back and you just... What Justin Rankin has been able to do to start this season has been incredible. You just keep feeding him the football, and he's going to break big runs. And the hesitation, the patience behind the line, and then the burst to get going when he needs to. I mean, he's a legitimate threat for the Edmonton Elks. I don't have to tell you that. The one thing I've really grown to like and appreciate about his game, he can stand in passing situations, he can block, but he also opens himself up to be a very good receiver. And that's where I think, that's what makes him so dangerous. You don't have to take him out. There's no indication like, oh, Rankin's leaving the game, they're passing. He'll block for you, he'll run for you, he'll catch the football. And when he catches the football, he can be equally as dangerous. And he's efficient there. Like, he was targeted 5 times on Saturday, 5 catches. In game 1, he was targeted 7 times for 5 catches and 94 yards. Obviously, 92 yak yards on the 63 catch and run. To me, and it's 3 weeks in. Yeah, sorry, we had the bye. I mean, there hasn't been a better player in the CFL than Justin Rankin. And you just hope he can continue that trend for him. A short week this week. You got the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Thursday. So they'll be heading out Wednesday. So practice today, practice Tuesday, walk through Wednesday, and then head out to Winnipeg for a matchup with the Bombers, who've been a very good team the last couple of years here in the CFL. But, hopefully the Edmonton Elks can find a way to take advantage. The unfortunate news for the Elks is that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had a bye this week. So you're getting a team off a bye on a short week. I don't love that personally, but hey, a little adversity for this team. And Duke, did you see the boys after the game? The post-game shot they had with coach and the post-game awards?
Some of the game balls?
Yeah,
I did.
I love that. I love that sort of stuff. And good on Mogensen and who was it? Mark Corte stepping up as long snappers. Due to the injury to the starting long snapper. The snaps and the punts were good. One was a little low, but other than that, I thought they did a really good job. So vibes high for the Green and Gold. The text line is 1-833-401-1440. Soft roll texting in saying, I find it hard to believe McDavid doesn't sign an extension after being involved with choosing a particular coach.
Well, was he involved in picking the coach, or did he just sign off on the coach?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seemed like the word after we heard was that was their guy. They wanted him after talking to him. Right. So,
and then the flip side of that, McDavid's under contract for 2 years. How long have each of the last couple Oilers head coach lasted?
2 years, 2.5, 3.
Like, yeah, he was involved or signed off or wanted the apparent hiring of Mike Babcock. Do we know Mike Babcock's going to be the coach in 2 years when his contract is up? I would say the odds are actually no, that he won't be. But I don't think that really has any bearing on it whatsoever. I think the on-ice result of what the Oilers can accomplish this season is much more, will be much more influential in his decision, which would be eligible for an extension next July 1st.
Now, I asked this question to Gregor, and I'll pass it along to you and the listeners as well. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is hoisting Lord Stanley, 1 is total you-know-what show. Team misses the playoffs. How do you foresee this season going with Mike Babcock? Because I think this team is good. They'll be a playoff team. They should be in the hunt for the division, although it's going to be a tougher division, I think, than it was last year. Just based off the roster. Like, you have a team of McDavid and Draisaitl, you should be doing those sorts of things. I'm intrigued what Babcock brings to the room, what he gets out of the guys. But, like, I have it as like a 7 or 8. Like, I think they should have a good next season when you don't even factor the head coach. What do you think, Duke? Like, do you think this has potential to go horribly wrong, or are you on the side that, just based on the team, either way, they should be making it back to the postseason and beyond?
Well, to be honest, I get a little bit of reassurance as recently as a few hours ago when the news came across that Connor Murphy is going to be back with this team. So when you factor that in, Dickinson's going to be back. Like, those were two obvious areas of need the team has that we saw them have success with it. So there's a little bit of comfortability in knowing that we've already seen it with our own eyes, and it's not just a speculation. They go, oh, this guy should fit and make the Oilers better in X area of the game, this one being defensively. We already know that it works. We know that they can have success there with this group. So that makes it all the more encouraging for me immediately. And listen, any team that has the top end talent that Edmonton does, you no doubt, regardless of who the coach is, should be making the playoffs. And in a world where you get some better goaltending than maybe the team had this past year, you are more competitively competing for the division. And listen, yeah, the division was bad, but the Oilers were in the mix for it right down towards the end of the season this year. I mean, even it seemed like nobody wanted to win the Pacific, but they were in the mix all the same. So if we're talking like point totals, I think the Oilers should be better than they were this past year from a regular season point total perspective. That means in the playoffs. Do I see them winning the division? I think they'd be in the fight for it. I have a hard time saying outright that they would be the clear-cut favorites or anything like that, because it's a little bit of a show me type mantra with this Oilers team that we know they don't really seem to take the regular season that seriously. This past year waked them up a little bit. It's easy to say that from their perspective, say, yeah, we need to focus more. We need to put in better efforts in the regular season and not just try and turn it on come playoff time. That's easy to say. It's tougher to execute when that has kind of been your MO for the past couple of years and seems to be how, like, your learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So could they win the Stanley Cup? Yes. Any team, in my opinion, that has McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, and supporting cast, they could win the Stanley Cup. Do I think they will? I'd like to see how the rest of the offseason shakes out before I'm quite ready to make that proclamation.
Michelle's coming in at a 7 out of 10, so confident. I will say, and there was questions, for this Oilers team, and heck, it was brought up by agents, like, could it impact what clients want to do and where would they want to sign? I think it's encouraging that two guys who are pending free agents who are in Edmonton and veteran guys who, by all accounts, seem like really good humans and obviously good hockey players, decided to stay. I think that's probably an encouraging sign from the outside world. Like, okay, like, these guys are committing. We've seen players already sign off on it, the big time players. Messi almost scored, but didn't. It's encouraging. Now, what does it impact otherwise? And, we had Shane text in, how about a second goalie for the Oilers? We've got Tristan Jarry under contract. My question, like, I thought for sure Connor Ingram would be back because I just don't know who else there is. Maybe Stan Bowman has some plan. We know the track record of Mike Babcock. Can't run from it. We know what he's been hard on players. I wonder if that impacts the decision for Connor Ingram about coming back to the Edmonton Oilers. Because when he was on, and you'd love to see a full offseason with him working with the coaching staff, that sort of thing. So I'm curious to see what happens there. But outside of Connor Ingram, Duke, as Stu or Shane is asking, is there anyone that comes to mind as a potential goalie for this club that you're thinking could be a realistic option?
Oh, geez.
Because you got is Bobrovsky back in Florida for short term, you think?
Well, the most recent reportings by a number of folks, and we had David Dwork out of Florida on the Carey Show this morning saying it actually is kind of leaning towards maybe they won't be it won't be a reunion there, because it seems like Bobrovsky actually wants a little more money, even on a shorter term deal than the Panthers would be willing to shell out. So do they take the Brad Marchand route and just give him, kind of what we were just chastising the Oilers for, a bunch of just freebie years to get the total dollar figure at a similar level and keep the AAV down? Yeah, I suppose it's certainly on the table. But then all of a sudden, Florida's in a spot like, this is going to be their goalie. They don't have any goalies under contract right now. Both Tarasov and him are UFAs. So for the Oilers, I don't see Bobrovsky as an option, even if he hits the market, because if he's too expensive for Florida, then I'm sorry, by kind of just process of elimination, that means he's too expensive for Edmonton. We're talking about teams that have a little bit of wiggle room here, but you're not flush in cap space. And especially unless there's a way that you move on from Tristan Jarry and free up that money, plus what you'd expect, Ingram to make on the UFA market, and just that money accounted Bobrovsky, and you have a league minimum type backup, then all of a sudden it's maybe in the realm of possibility. But the longer this goes, and when I'm looking at the Oilers, I think they're going to give it another go with Tristan Jarry. Who's his backup remains to be seen. We know Connor Ingram's past, his history, his struggles with mental health, and times in the player assistance program. As you said, Connor, does the presence of Babcock and impending hire change his perspective on coming back to the team? I have no idea. I no clue. But it's something worth considering. And outside of that, if you're sticking with Jarry, you'd like to have something pretty reliable as a secondary option without breaking the bank for it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Is it just a veteran journeyman backup goalie that can play 20 to 30 games and just give you average down the pipe type stuff? That might be enough for this Oilers team. We've been proven that they don't need elite goaltending to have success. Mm-hmm. But you got to have average.
Yeah, and I'm not ruling out a bounce back from Tristan Jarry. It could happen. I don't know if he was 100% healthy this past season. Extended off season. Let's see what happens for sure. But as we've stated many times, you play better in front of him, it'll help. Daryl says it is encouraging, +1's American. Yeah, and I don't get the same vibes from Connor Murphy that I do from the Kachucks, who have both requested trades out of Canada, or other players. But yeah, it's never a bad thing. Roland says, is Kosa an option in Detroit? Well, he is, but Duke kind of just said it there. You want a reliable backup this year, and although his numbers have been good in the AHL, he still is unproven. He's played one game in the NHL, so we don't really know for sure. He has been surpassed, we think, in the organizational depth chart at the position in Detroit. We'll have to wait and see, but I think he could be an option. Noel says there will be goalies on waivers near the start of the season as rosters are set.
If that's the Oilers' plan to try and improve their goaltending, is just waiting to see who's on the waiver wire, that is not a plan for success. That is a hope play. And hey, I think they got really fortunate the way they landed Connor Ingram last year. It just didn't work out in Utah. Both sides were ready for a fresh start. That's kind of an exception. Now, goalies come up out of nowhere every year. Look at Brandon Bussie this past season, Stanley Cup champion, winning 3 games in the Cup final. But and this is kind of the same thing as a Kosa idea. Everything we've talked about the Oilers, how their chips are in right now. You can't have a hope play. Now, you could counter that to say running it back with Jarry is equally as hopeful. Yeah, but you have Jarry no matter what. Unless you find somebody else to take him, you're not expending any more capital to bring him in. He's already here. So that's a less risky hope play, in my opinion, because you're not giving up anything else to make it happen. whether it be cap space, assets, etc.
Just quickly, Rockford asked if Mantha was in Detroit when Babcock was there. No, Mantha's first year was 15-16, so it would have been Jeff Blashill. And the next one was Randy A. The Oilers do have Connor Unger in the minors. They do. They signed him up by two-way deal, so I think he's ineligible unless he accepts the trip to the East Coast League. So he'll be with the Condors. That'll be an option, but again, unproven. Dylan says, I think you got to do everything in your power to pull Gustafsson out of Minnesota. Hey, I would not be opposed to it, dude.
That's a great player to target. It's going to come at a pretty good price tag. I think Minnesota's pretty comfortable with their 2-goalie system for the time being until they get an offer that immediately improves them to the point of like their Stanley Cup contender window, which they think they're really close. They don't have a number one center. Dylan Larkin seems like an obvious fit. Does Detroit want another goalie back in the trade? I don't know. So is there a way that they trade Gustafsson to Edmonton and get some extra capital that they can then send to Detroit in a deal for Larkin? Yeah, you can get creative. And Gustafsson will be a great target. I just think he might be a little too rich for what the Oilers are able to pony up.
Yeah, I would be with you. It'd be great if I'm Minnesota. I've said it multiple times, like, oh, Messi scores, Duke. You got it. And Brad Slater had him for his goal scorer.
Brilliant.
There you go. Messi from that spot, just crossing the 18-yard line, pots it, lower left side, maybe where he should have gone on this penalty. But there you go. Argentina taking a 1-0 lead. Now you need them to hold on for your win, right?
Oh, just run it up for a few more.
7 or 8. Why not? And now he surpasses Jonathan David. He is leading the World Cup in goals.
And is also the all-time leading goal scorer in World Cup history.
He tied it with a hat trick.
Yeah.
This guy's incredible. What a legend. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will take more of your text, let you know what's coming up on the Lowdown and the Jason Greger Show. It is Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. Brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
You may get up early, but more than likely, the team at GS Construction have already gotten up before you, grabbed a coffee, headed to the site, and started their day. So while Edmonton wakes up, GS crews are already underground, quietly keeping things moving, upgrading, and laying the new underground infrastructure for our growing city. If you're the kind of person who goes to sleep with their steel-toed boots on, GS Construction wants to hear from you. We're looking for a maintenance foreman as well as a building and yard attendant. Visit gsconstruction.ca for more.
Welcome to the Bro Zone, the ultimate garage setup for checking out the big game.
70-inch TV? Check. Surround sound? Check. Mini fridge fully stocked? Check.
But a legendary Bro Zone needs legendary snacks.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky. It's the perfect game day companion when you're watching from the ultimate fan cave.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Wondering what you can afford?
Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure,
No awkward convos.
just quick answers on your budget and payments.
Bad credit? No credit? We got you.
Text check to 780-777-7777.
That's check to 780 all sevens.
Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and this is the time of the year most RV stores wish their lot was full.
At the new RV stores, product is trickling in, mostly just for taking orders. But having an RV on order doesn't mean much when the weather's great for camping today.
No Bull has hundreds of quality used RVs on the lot now. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. Walk into No Bull RV today and you could be in the great outdoors next weekend. No waiting, no hoping it'll be here by summer, just the perfect used trailer, motorhome, fifth wheel, or toy hauler that you need.
And every RV at No Bull is one of a kind.
Every family is one of a kind too, Bob. Think we can't find the perfect one for you? Take a look around. At No Bull, you'll save thousands compared to the cost of a new RV. You can build your summer plan on hope, or you can know for sure. And ask about our Camp Ready service plan when you're here to make this the best summer yet.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Go pay him a visit. Only available in Leduc or online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Coming up next year on the station, we got the Lowdown with Low Tide. That's, of course, LT, Declan, and Josh. They'll have Jason Greger on the program, recapping a busy day, busy weekend. This is an unbelievable weekend in the sporting world. You know what? If you had to put the over or under for how many times we say, like, best time in the sporting world, I'd put it at like 7.5. Like, we always love it, whatever's going on. I tried to go find out who else was joining on the program, but Declan and Tide are both wandering around the building. So I don't know what else is coming up unless there's been a show tweet, but Gregor for sure, and lots of reaction to all that's happening in the sporting world. Then from 2 to 6, it is the Jason Greger Show. And of course, hey, we'll talk about the Florida Panthers goaltending situation. What do they do next after acquiring Brady Tkachuk? And more. Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine. We got the stats of the day. Cam Tate's 2-minute warning spec. A couple guests we are working on. Maybe someone who signed a new deal in the city. Maybe a guy who got a touchdown on the weekend. We'll confirm those as the day goes on. But also, Zach Stortini going to join us. Former member of the Edmonton Oilers. Now head coach of the New Mexico Goatheads, the East Coast affiliate for the Colorado Avalanche. What do you think about that name? Have you seen the name and logo, Duke?
I have.
It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, and like we're talking East Coast Hockey League. Like this is the equivalent to all these crazy things we see in minor league baseball. I can get on board with teams getting a little creative as long as it's still pertinent.
Yeah.
And, it's something that actually exists and not making up new terms for both cities, areas, or animals. So I like it. And I like the logo for sure.
The color scheme is great too.
Yeah, very New Mexico color scheme.
Yeah, like the burgundy.
Ooh, it might even be beyond. Like that's almost maroon.
Maroon. My colors are not good. It's reddy purple.
Let's get a Pantone check on this.
Blue and then like the beigey off white. Yeah, I haven't seen the jerseys yet, but I think they'll look pretty clean. And Zach Stortini going to be running the bench, so he'll join us at 4:20 today to discuss his coaching journey.
Oilers legend.
Yeah, man. He stuck up for his teammates. He had no issue dropping the mitts if he had to. Text came in just regarding Messi's PK. Mid to low is the best place to shoot. Too much of a chance missing high. Played soccer at a high level for 15 years. From Trey. And yeah, I mean, as I kind of
but he
said,
missed wide.
Yeah.
So what's it like?
You miss either way. You miss.
This is a miss. Like you're the GOAT. You should just score.
It's sometimes you'll see a shot, Duke, and people will be like, holy cow, he missed by a mile. And then you see the side view and it's like, he actually only missed by like 6 inches over the top. It just looks really bad, but you don't worry about that.
That was actually some of the things I thought watching Canada's opener when they tied Bosnia-Herzegovina, a couple of their tries, like from good spots too. And I'm like, oh my God, it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And I'll just speak for the two in particular that have come to my memory. I can't remember who even shot them, but it was not what you're talking about where it was a matter of angle. No, they just were not close.
Yeah, it happens.
Foul.
And I mean, it just gets off, maybe the wrong part of the boot, a little high up, and you can absolutely blast it. That was always fun growing up because the smart teams would, maybe stash another ball behind the net.
Otherwise, you just had to run forever.
Otherwise, the goalie was just chasing it all the time, or maybe you get a younger brother or sister to stand behind the net and track down the balls. But
my closest comparison there would have been growing up at my siblings or my own baseball games and foul balls, right?
Oh yeah,
and especially at tournaments where there's usually a few diamonds in one area. If I was there, my sister's hosted provincials a couple times in Delburn and things like that, the umpires would always have in their little sacks, along with the extra balls, either gum or quarters. And so if you'd bring a foul ball back, you'd get a piece of gum or a quarter, and you could take the quarter then to the local concession up on the hill at the Delburn ballpark and get a few 5-cent candies for your troubles.
It's smart.
Or if you're a real menace on it and you save up all day, maybe you can get yourself a chocolate bar.
Stay active. We had a kind of a saying, my coach would say, when in doubt, kick it out. And especially if it was, you're being pursued by another player and you're in trouble, just bomb it. As far as you can kick it, give your team a breather, give them the chance to get back on defense.
Now I'm just thinking what's drawing comparisons to playing baseball. Imagine that everybody panic. You just turn and just yeet the ball over the outfield.
I mean, there's nothing you could really do. You throw it.
Well, everybody get a base.
Exactly. Hey, I mean, you could do it, but also you shouldn't be that tired in baseball.
Probably.
Not much running.
Hopefully not.
Hot's also going to throw some shade at you. Trey says that texter, and by high level of soccer, he means Tier 2 St. Albert Impact.
Is that good?
Better than community, I suppose. Now, what I would say to that is, Trey, you can fire back. I'm not trying to start anything. I just want to know what level Trey played so I get a good indication of it. The St. Albert Impact, I coached against them a few times. They had some hot head coaches, screaming at my girls and stuff. I was like, "Are we going to have to drop the mitts?"
Would you square up?
No, probably not. I would get whooped. It'd be embarrassing. That's not the role model you want to be.
So true.
But I've seen the coach got a red card, got sent home. It'd be embarrassing. Imagine that was your husband or your dad.
I had tons of my parents never really coached me in any of my sports, but I had plenty of coaches get kicked out in hockey games.
I can see that a little more in hockey. It's got,
You think? How is it different?
More culture.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. Soccer's a gentleman's game.
We don't talk much about angry soccer dad.
You shouldn't.
But angry hockey dad is a thing.
You shouldn't be yelling on the soccer pitch you shouldn't be heckling Wyndham Clark and getting kicked out of the U.S. Open.
No. You shouldn't do it in any sport. But people do. People do.
I assistant coach for a U18 team in Delburn the one winter, and I got kicked out of a game. And I actually did, straight up, I did not deserve it. I was given the ref a little bit of a hard time because there's a couple blatant missed icing calls. And so when he comes by, and it was him, not the linesman, I just said, I was like, is anybody awake out there? When he's coming by the bench, and he turns around, he's like, say one more thing and you're out of here. So I didn't say anything, but I just put the giant, eating grin on my face and kind of just smiled at him.
Raised him up.
And he kicked me out.
They have the power, right? Harry says they're not a case. Agreed. Angry soccer moms.
But he said, say one more thing and you're gone. I didn't say anything. Who's in the wrong here?
Well, he is, obviously.
Thank you.
Who was it the Yankees manager who got kicked out?
Oh yeah, he wasn't even the one yelling from the dugout. Yeah, it's very similar.
George, we're not trying to slander people, but he says the Impact coaches and parents are the worst. Very entitled, very rude.
Well, Connor, for literally leading this was saying, I'm not trying to start something. It seems like you've started something.
Well, hey, I had a similar experience. The team was fine. They weren't dirty or anything, but the adults were a little crazy at times. IMAX says soccer is a gentleman's game played by hooligans. Rugby is a hooligan's game played by gentlemen. It was and continues to be the same.
I've heard that.
Rugby, man. I would say like every football player should play rugby. Especially if you're on defense, like learn how to form tackle and everything like that. I could never
not
play
leading
rugby.
with your head.
Yeah, your head's not a weapon. Go by the legs. I never could play rugby. I don't know. It intimidated me.
I'm too much of a wuss.
That's pretty much it.
One of my very good buddies, he's like heavy into rugby growing up, and then he even plays still as an adult sometimes, like in senior matches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Oh yeah, I would never talk bad about a rugby player. Those guys are legit. We did have a text come in just quickly from Kyle asking who we thought would be the more productive running back this year: David Montgomery in Houston or J.K. Dobbins in Denver. The Broncos have drafted running backs twice in the last 2 years here, and I really like J.K. Dobbins, but I always worry about injury. What do you think Montgomery's usage will be with the Texans this year, Duke?
Yeah, pretty high, to be honest. Like they paid a substantial price to go bring him in, and they are looking for more consistency out of their run game after what started as like the Joe Mixon experiment was awesome, and then this injury that kept him out of the lineup the entirety of last year, and we still don't really know what's even wrong with him. It kind of just left them in a hole all last year. We're trying to plug it constantly with some younger guys. Damian Pierce, a player that you and I really like, Connor, but is just simply not a regular down-to-down NFL running back. They obviously bring in Woody Marks for previous lower round draft pick, who I think is a good complement piece, but it doesn't have top end running back things. So if you want to make life easier on CJ Stroud, get a good run game going. And I think that the offensive play calling will really indicate that, because he got a good talent at receiver, but you got to make it easier on CJ Stroud as he kind of continues to build on his decision making and working through progressions and stuff. So I would expect Montgomery to be very heavily involved.
Yeah, I kind of look at it for me like I would take a Broncos running back over a Texans running back with the offensive line and Sean Payton, but I would take Montgomery over Dobbins.
Yeah, I think I'm right with you.
Because I just think that, Dobbins, geez, I love the guy. I think he's a great player, great guy. But there's always that risk. And Montgomery, I mean, guy's got a history of stealing touchdowns, right? It's pay dirt. So, Kyle, thank you for the football question to come in here at the end of the program. We appreciate all you guys joining us on the show today. Keep the text rolling. Low Tide coming up next. And then we got the Gregor Show, and then we got Blue Jays baseball. Jays hosting the Astros. We'll join it in progress on the AM feed only. Right now, we're going to get to a sports 1440 update. Doggy Mondays at Cattail Crossing. You can bring your dog golfing. Must be leashed and are allowed on the patio any day. Remember that. Look now at cattailcrossing.ca. Here is the Duke.
The sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers knocking another pending UFA off their list this morning as they've extended defenseman Connor Murphy with a 5-year deal coming in a cap at $4.1 million per season. The deal also carries a full no movement clause for the first 3 years and a 16-team no trade list for years 4 and 5. Utah Mammoth and head coach Andre Turigny coming to terms on a multi-year extension this morning. Team announced Turigny been with the club since 2021 and also adding Adam Foote, the former Canucks head coach, to the staff as an assistant. Over in the NBA offseason, the Dallas Mavericks have their new head coach as Masai Ujiri putting his fingerprints on the organization by bringing in Dusty May from Michigan Wolverines college basketball. May and the Wolverines won the national championship this past season. World Cup action already underway today. Argentina gets a goal from Lionel Messi to take over as the all-time leader in both the tournament and in World Cup history. They lead Austria 1-0. France and Iraq get underway at 3 at 6. Norway plays Senegal, and the nightcap Jordan taking on Algeria. That kicks off at 9. In the majors today, the Blue Jays open a set back at home against the Houston Astros. First pitch coming just after 5 o'clock. Dylan Cease on the bump for Toronto. Hunter Brown countering for Houston. And catch that game right here in Sports 1440, joined in progress at the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, Tigers hosting the Yankees. Rays up against the Royals. The Phillies visit the Nats. Dodgers play in the Twins in Minnesota. Red Sox up against the Rockies, and the Angels host the Orioles. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brendan Douglas at your Sports.